We look like we're coming out of a ray of sunshine, and I love it. You look really handsome.
That's cute.
Dude, do you want to open it?
Welcome to episode 2. This is the Empress and the Hermit.
Hello.
Hi. And we went... let's do that again.
Okay, yeah, I feel like we need to remind them what the show is.
So we're recording this late, this episode. It's episode 2. Hope you enjoyed episode 1. We did. It was all right. First episode's really hard. I think we mentioned that 3 or 4 times. Today we're talking about... first of all, hi.
Yeah, I was going to say, how are you doing over there on the other side of your earpods? How's your week been? Actually, these are going to release on Tuesdays. How was your weekend? Did you relax? Did you rest?
It's been a week since the last one opened. You can say you can be a week or whatever.
Ding.
Ding.
We're drinking.
This week we're talking about escape rooms.
Yeah, that's the rabbit hole we're going down.
Look, so we were going to talk about... We've been gung-ho. We were so ready to talk about camping and...
Which we mentioned on the first episode.
Which we mentioned on the first one, and like going on adventures and like getting out post-COVID and that sort of thing and getting out of our funk. Well, what a better way to get out of your funk than to get trapped in a room with people you care about and then have to get out of it. It was awesome.
Yeah, we had to ride with that energy because we just did it literally an hour and a half ago.
It was so much fun. So, Katie's brother, you don't need to know his name.
I was going to say, why you're hesitating. Yeah, we didn't really ask.
That's all. Like, I don't really want to talk about anybody unless we get their express permission, or if they're already somewhat of a public figure.
If you're listening, he's the coolest in the world, and anyone who actually knows him in real life knows exactly.
Oh, he's the best.
He's literally the best.
So he likes to set up these. His name's Connor. You don't care.
Okay.
He's not gonna care. You don't know. He likes to do these activities for gifts. So for Christmas, he got everybody an escape room trip to Portland escape rooms.
Yeah. Well, not everyone. I feel like that's important to know.
He got it for his siblings and their significant others.
Yeah, but I feel like we need to touch on this. We will get to the escape room stuff here in a second. But I just need to mention about how amazing of a gift giver he is. So he did experiences. So for us and our other sibling and her boyfriend, we all did the escape room. But for my mom, he got her an experience to go to an alpaca farm to hang out with the alpacas, which is her favorite animal ever, and they're gonna go do that. And I just thought that was the coolest thing. It's so tailored. And then him and my dad went and watched a movie that they really loved,
one of their
or something.
Things, like it's their jam.
They go watch movies together.
Fun fact about the alpaca, we learned this week.
Oh yeah,
it's a camel cousin.
Didn't know that.
Which sounds like kissing cousins, which is a different kind of fun.
Yeah.
The alpaca, the llama, as it were, Jeffrey Llama. I really hope somebody made like an adorable kids cartoon that's a llama that murders people.
What?
After turning them into sex slaves. Jeffrey Llama, it'd be amazing.
Oh, okay. Wow, that went right over my head.
Here's your first million. You can have that HBO before you cancel it.
Here's your thing to learn about us this week. We visit the same food establishments often, repeatedly when we find a place that we really love. And there's a Philly...
You say that no one else in the world goes back to their sponsors.
But we it. For example,
it's perfectly fucking normal. What you need to understand is Portlanders are fucking weird. They're very weird.
There's a Philly cheesesteak spot that one of the people...
Shout out to More Food and Company and More Food and More Coffee.
Yeah, they're amazing. But the fun fact that you were supposed to learn about us other than that is we love doing when they have trivia games at dive bars or restaurants or whatever. We will sit there and we will play them. And that's how we learned about the alpaca being the cousin of the camel or whatever.
I also learned some really stupid shit. Trivial Pursuit really needed to up their game in the mid-90s.
Well, I was going to say it was an older...
Well, there were things like...
deck.
It was what three chunks of Germany were parted into different... Or no, how many chunks of Germany were parted into specific zones after World War II, I think it was, or something like that. And the answer was like, I think it was 4. I'm probably wrong. But the point was, is like, oh, okay, there's a piece of world history. Interesting. Then the other one was like, yeah, but what American president had the fattest ass? It was something.
Oh my God, it did say, it said,
it was like, what fat president?
It said that, but it was like the most...
It was portly.
Portly.
What
That's what it was.
president?
What
It was-
portly president? And I was like, what does that even
What
mean?
heckin' chunk of a world leader?
I'm sorry that I don't understand the words that you use to call people fat so that they don't know that you're calling... That's just so bizarre. Portly? I've never heard of that.
Why did you take that in like a... I'm sorry, I don't know your words.
Because it
like,
seems like a weird secretive way to like bash someone.
secretive way?
Because no one
Portly?
says that.
Yes, they do. What are you talking about?
I've never once described... Well, I just wouldn't do that
People,
generally.
you know another term? Zovdig.
What?
Softdig.
Soft dick?
Yes,
It's definitely...
soft dick.
Definitely an explicit episode.
So this is a lot like doing an escape room.
This is also a lot like what our real life is. Anyways, yeah, we went to an escape room
The Empress
tonight.
and the Hermit. You might get to the point. Doom.
I know.
That should be in our theme song.
That actually should be it. I was saying as Andrew was editing the first episode, I was like, so how many tangents did we go on?
The first one, I think 5. But they all loosely connected so far.
Okay, we've gone on 2 already. So
Anyway.
escape rooms. We went to our first one.
It's a drinking game for the podcast. Every time we veer off course, take a drink. Not a shot, because you'll die.
Yeah.
But a drink. And
Truly.
you might die. I don't
Truly.
know. Drink responsibly or whatever.
I thought that maybe for funsies, I could read you about the first escape room that was ever made.
Sure.
Because
Go.
I find that fascinating.
I need to. Sometimes you make shit sound like I'm not interested in it. Like, because I find that fascinating.
We just chuckled.
Me too. You have prompted everything beforehand, so you're acting like I've never heard this before.
Okay, anyway. Okay, so how escape rooms got their start. The first modern escape room was created by a publishing company called Scrap in Kyoto, Japan. Did you know that?
No, but that's awesome.
In July 2007.
Horseshit.
That's what it says.
Really? There wasn't like... I call shenanigans.
The 5 to 6 player game was performed in a single room at first, but now Scrap has become known for its Real Escape game event, which hosts thousands of players in a shared space. That's chaotic.
That sounds terrible.
That's
my nightmare.
Yeah, I was going to say that's my worst
Also,
nightmare.
I call crap on this because maybe the first official like licensed
Yeah.
one or whatever in 2007, but like murder mystery parties have been a thing forever.
The inspirations for escape rooms. Escape rooms have origins in live action role playing.
Yahtzee.
It says or LARPing.
Or
Yes.
LARPing, thank you. Shout out
We
to
know
all
what that
my
is.
dorks.
They also have origins in online point and click escape the room games. Like the games you like to play. The ones that I've seen you play.
Oh, please go on.
Other inspirations include traditional scavenger or treasure hunts and interactive theaters
And also escape rooms.
such as haunted houses or murder mystery dinner shows. There you go.
This is garbage. Wikipedia can kiss my ass.
This is not Wikipedia.
Who is it?
This is
Some random dude's
New
website?
Mexico Escape Room .com.
Well, New Mexico Escaperoom.com.
I don't know if it's .com. Oh, it is.
.org.
It is.
.gov? .biz. I don't know the others. That's always funny to me when you have somebody try to define, well, this was invented in 2007, when puzzles and the act of...
It said the first modern escape room.
Whatever. Like,
Okay.
That modern is subjective.
Oh,
Like,
I have a different one.
Christ.
In 1988, John
Still.
Wilson created Behind Closed Doors, a text-based game considered the first inception of a player trapped within a room.
That's a game. It's a video game.
Okay, well,
there have been seances going back whenever had elements of escape rooms. They were like total hoosafudge for a long time. There was a circuit of people who would have like anything from like ropes or string or whatever tied to their foot or hand, so they could like knock certain things around in the room to make you feel more interactive. there were also things of like doors opening and, oh my God, I think the spirit is in that room. We need to move into that room. Like they were interactive experiences.
I don't know.
And then even before then, like there's evidence in what little I know of this. It's not much. There's evidence in Chinese theater, if I'm not super fucking mistaken about it, of similar interactive things. Like as long as, that's why it's always funny to me when people try to define the exact time that something was invented.
Well, I think I just went through the Wikipedia too, and they're basically saying like the version that we know right now, the first version exactly like that was in Japan in 2007.
I understand that.
We had never been to one before, which seems kind of crazy because you love games and puzzles.
I love escape room stuff.
It's not weird for me though because I hate haunted houses. I feel like that's something everyone should know about me. It's similar to my anyways, I hate haunted houses. I've always hated them. In fact, I think it was 6th grade, went to like a neighborhood haunted house.
I know the story.
And Ren, if you ever listen to this, Ren was there with me, my 6th grade best friend Ren. And I took 2 steps into that haunted house and there was the ring girl sitting on the floor, reaching her hands out at me, and I sat down.
Do you know her name?
No, of course not.
Her name is Sadako.
She was sitting there.
Original one.
I sat down on the floor and I curled up into a ball and I started crying, and I'm pretty sure Ren had to pick me up and drag me out of that haunted house. And
legit.
I went to like one of those Fright Night things.
Fright Night's amazing.
I hated it. I hated it, all of it. So I was a little bit nervous about the escape room, that there was going to be like actors and stuff that would jump out at you, which there was a jump scare. Actor. It was not to me though.
Yeah, her sister, oh man, it was the perfect person to get it too.
It was, yeah.
Because she didn't like flip out. She's like, just enough of a like, bah!
And then like a, damn it.
Yeah.
Like it was
like
me.
You got me.
Yeah.
Like, thanks.
But it was not haunted housey at all. Not even in the slightest.
A tiny, tiny bit, but not like, only because it was a voodoo / New Orleans / it was called The Fortune Teller.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it. It's fucking amazing. And you have an hour to do it. Mm-hmm. And so I love New Orleans. It's arguably without a doubt, one of my top 5 places in the world that I've ever been. I would go back tomorrow if I had the money. I'm not kidding. Like I'd take everybody we know, everybody we care about, go right the fuck back and go stay on in the Bywater. Oh man, it's just so perfect. And I'm mildly obsessed with the actual practice of voodoo, because I had to learn it.
There was like a slight voodoo nod.
There was
a voodoo doll.
There was a ton.
So yeah.
There were rituals. There were like shrunken. It was basically all the cliche crap that pretty much everybody and their mother assumes voodoo's about. Which it's not fun. We should have an episode on just.
There was like a lot of different things mixed into that one, because we walked in and there was like the fortune teller, and then there was like a fake tarot deck.
Yeah,
which was like kind of funny, which is just funny time. I don't know.
So it's not. Here's your problem, right?
I want it to be so realistic when we go in there.
It's fun shit. You're not going to go in and they're going to give you the Empress card or the Hermit card or the 7 of Cups or whatever the fuck. They're going to give you the Death Future card, the High Priestess Hierophant with a wig card. Like they're going to make it fun and cartoony, and it kind of protects them.
I will say, I mean, I don't know if you listening have ever been to one of these, but the woman who was the actor, the one person facilitating the whole experience, and she was Kate. Her name was Kate, and she was like the what was she supposed to be? She's the game master. The fortune teller in the beginning.
She ran the whole shebang.
But then she was the spirit. She like dressed in this cool like black.
She was the representation
outfit.
Of the curse.
Yes, and she had like a mesh black thing on with a black hood. And
she wore the outfit I wore when I was 10, and I was going to my middle school dance, and I'm not kidding.
Why were you wearing that?
Because I was way into gothic stuff, and as far as like a child knows what that even is.
Was it a Halloween dance?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like...
That was a Friday.
Sadie Hawkins or something. I'm like, okay.
No, and I was still too afraid to ask anybody to dance, because that's what I do.
Yeah.
I'm real good at it.
But Kate really made the whole thing, like she committed 110% to this whole thing, and I can only imagine how weird it would be if you had someone who didn't care as much about the story and about their job.
I gotta be honest, I wouldn't give a fuck. I wouldn't have cared one bit.
It was really done well, I thought.
I thought she was awesome. I thought she was the extra seasoning on it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
She was Sprinkle Chef. But not like an over-puffed asshole who gets paid too much while everybody else is starving around him, but like the meme or whatever, the positive version. So anyway, she was great. I could not have cared less if she wasn't there. If we were just like sent to the wolves or somebody was like, because the rest of the experience was so good.
Yeah,
like,
that's truly like she was there because she had to like trigger parts of the room to do things when we did it manually. But she was also there to like give hints. So there were these roses laying in front of this tomb,
which I didn't get.
She said it very quickly once, and I think you were in the other room.
I was busy working.
He was trying to solve the puzzles. But she was there. You could use a rose to get a clue, and we only end up using one because we forgot about them. So that was kind of why she was there. But yeah, if we didn't have her and we just had to figure it out, like I think we would have figured, maybe not
there was one that was a little esoteric.
Yeah.
But everything for the most part was pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not being a dick. I'm very good at those things.
Yeah.
And there were things in there. The cool thing was like, so if you're into puzzles, there's different kinds. And a good puzzle, especially something like this experience, should come from different angles. It shouldn't use the same sort of logic. Logic's the wrong word. You shouldn't design it as though you're only designing for one type of solution or one type of person. And I feel like everything in there like was perfect for someone in our group.
Yeah, it was like, that was the really cool part, because we walked out of it and Andrew was like, what was your favorite part? And we definitely did not have the same favorite part because there were different. My favorite part, of course, I feel like this is obvious, but there was a part where it was actually in the very beginning before you even unlocked the second room. The whole setup for the situation that was going on is that there was a fortune teller, someone sat down to get their fortune read, you like pulled these tarot cards and you pull them in such a way that you like set off this curse.
You have never seen anyone snap up a roll as fast as Kate was like, she's like, who wants to get their fortune read? She's like, me. I could practically hear you go like, fuck all y'all. That's mine.
Well, there was a slight pause. I was waiting to see if anyone else was going to...
I mean, in the sense of everyone looked at, would you... Oh, she's going. Cool. All right.
So I set off the curse, and then the fortune teller like scurries away because she's all afraid of that I've set off the curse, and so you have to do, what did she call it? The spell.
You had to recite an incantation in order to banish the curse. Right.
But at first you had to recite the spell to conjure the spirit that would help you.
Which we didn't know.
No, we didn't figure that. That went right over my head. First of all, we didn't even know there was a curse.
They didn't at first. The point, we're like talking minutia about this fucking thing when we really like, you should go and experience this crap.
Wait, but I wanted to tell you my favorite part. That was why I was telling you this.
Get it.
My favorite part was that you had this little spell book thing that was left there, and one of the first things you had to do is you had to take the recipe of the spell and get all the different items in the room and put them in a specific bowl that you couldn't actually get to until you got to the second room, and everyone had to face a certain direction of the room and say the chant all together in the right direction. That was my favorite part.
For the record, I hate shit like that. I do.
I just thought that was like so funny.
I used to teach kids like survival skills, and one of the organizations I worked for would have you like, you should make it fun and make it like magic or some shit, and I'm like, they don't care. They just want to learn how soil and erosion works.
Make it magic. What do you mean?
So it would be like, have them all. The thing we had to do was have all these kids, and to be fair, who cares? Really, the kids were like 12, which is sort of right where you're like, starting to learn everything might not be as adults say. Mm-hmm. So it's a weird age to encourage, like, all right, let's all stand in a circle and march around this bucket of dirt and other things. Because if we do it right, all these things will break down and they'll turn into soil, like a proper, like, this is how loam works, this is whatever. And so we were actually told to march around in a circle around a bucket with all the kids saying soil, 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 soil over and over and over and over again. Like, sort of, you're enacting the ritual of the magical soil changing, and then you flip it and you're like, oh, I wonder why that didn't. Why do you guys think that didn't work?
Okay, well, that's obviously why you don't like that stuff.
No shit. That's why I said that.
Me, I'm like,
I hate that crap.
Spells, and I'm just like, yes, give it to me.
If it was a Dungeons and Dragons escape room, right? Or, I will be appropriate, Ultima Online. No? All right. And they told me to read from a book, and it was like gobbledygook, like nor par telemore or whatever. That's actually from a fan fiction. Don't worry about it. There was boobs. Like, if you had to recite a Latin thing or like whatever, that's fine. But there's something about like, the five of us here in a room. Uh-oh, look out. That one did shrooms. Like, there's something about that.
It was rhymey, but it was, I thought I liked it.
That's good.
I liked whatever it said.
That's good.
Clearly so much that I remember exactly.
I find that shit embarrassing.
What was your favorite part?
All of it, actually, ultimately. But I love the table. I don't want to say what it is because I really want. I just like when you have mechanics and things like that, because like what's an easy way for people to figure this out if they have no idea what we're talking about? I mean, you can look up puzzle boxes on the internet, or like you watch the first 10 minutes of Glass Onion. They show a very over the top hokum version of it that is like hilarious. Or the game series The Room, not to be confused with the Tommy Wiseau movie. But it's where you like, oh, I clicked on this and that popped open a little compartment here. And there was just one where Katie's brother and I had to be synchronized pressing these buttons at the right time on this table that just blended in super well. They looked like they were just decoration. Yeah. And then it popped open a compartment somewhere. So that's the shit I love.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's so good. Like, give me theatrics, yes, but like, oh, it's just neat.
Yeah. And I think it makes it, that was such a cool experience because Andrew loves games and puzzles and that sort of thing. And it's so funny because if any of my family members were to listen to this episode, they'd be like, Katie hates games.
Katie hates losing.
I really hate losing.
Katie hates losing at games. You've gotten considerably
yes,
better.
Thank you. I have.
But damn.
But I for the majority of my life was a very, very sore loser, and therefore I just would not play games. So it's nice now to get to do these things where it's like,
well, cooperative is very different than competitive.
Yes.
And I think that's the sweet spot there.
And it was experiential. Like, there's something different about that versus. Do you need to adjust?
It doesn't matter. We're struggling with these mics. It might change in the next setup. Anyway, go on. I'm sorry.
I forgot what I was saying.
It's experiential.
Yes. It's experiential versus like, sometimes I think it's a little bit harder for me to like fully get into like a video game. Like, it's just hard for me because I didn't grow up doing that to like put myself in those scenarios, but like we were there, we were in it, like, well, and that's why you can touch and feel and like do all the things, and I just really enjoyed that, and I was glad I got to do that with everyone.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole other jam. Like, and I love video games. I love them. I'll die on a hill saying that everybody should try one at least once, but I don't give a shit if it's VR or not. And I'm talking like, I used to be a diehard World of Warcraft player, like that level of fucking dork. There is no comparison to physically experiencing something and doing it in a video game. Like, I don't give a shit who you are. And I'm please play games, all the games, but like, get your hands on some tactile shit. Like, go grab a board game if you want like a nice intermediary, get a board game, honey. But like, get out there and experience something, and like, you don't need to build nothing, but like, you can get puzzle boxes on Amazon for like $30.
Yeah.
It's so, I can't even tell you how satisfying it is.
I was gonna say, that was the other thing I wanted to touch on, is like how satisfying it was each time we solved a little piece of the puzzle. Yeah. Like, And that's like that, using that, like we were talking about last week, the masculine and feminine energy. Solving puzzles is masculine energy.
Really?
It's logic.
God,
it's
I know
like,
a lot of dummies, man. That's so funny.
And yeah, it was just incredibly satisfying to do those different puzzles, and each time, and the cooperative part, you're right, like it just, everyone would like sit there and high five and be like, yay, we got the skull, like whatever.
I wasn't super sure how it was gonna go, just because the 5 of us had never done something like that before. So
yeah.
I wasn't dreading anything, but I was just like, well, this will be a cool learning experience for me. And it was, everybody had a thing that they got, like at least everyone got at least like a handful. I'm dying. Okay. Today's beer is brought to you by Ninkasi Total Domination Northwest IPA Pine Grapefruit Bitter.
I was gonna
Ninkasi,
say I had the same thing as last week.
This is a tangent because that's what I do. Ninkasi. Oh, fun fact! I think Ninkasi is like the goddess of brewing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I forget for what culture, but anyway, very clever name. Your beer, when it gets slightly warm, and I'm talking like not ice cold, tastes like feet.
Oh no.
Feet or sweat.
Also,
you have one that tastes like sweat, and it's a problem.
You might be able to hear, or if you're watching this on YouTube, you might be able to see our cat Tootie's here. So
hey,
if you hear a little cat noise,
our other guy is over there.
Yeah.
He's
They're here.
He's always around.
There she is.
He handsome.
Oh no, she's moving the mic.
Okay. For me, like the escape room stuff, like I would go back every single week.
Yeah.
Our facilitator was awesome. Her name is Kate.
And there were so many cool themed rooms.
There's so many cool themed rooms.
That was awesome too.
Ours was Fortune Teller, which is like a mishmash of a bunch of stuff we both love, like in a cartoonish way. It was, yeah, just a tiny bit cartoonish, which I liked. They have one called Kidnapped, which I want to do alone.
Oh yeah, dude.
Because I don't think anybody else in our group would have liked that. Maybe Chuck. Maybe Chuck and me can do it.
Yeah.
But they have Arcade, which is just a straight up 80s themed arcade. Yes, please. They have Saloon Partner. Yes, into it. And they have a couple other, but our facilitator was like very about this like airship steampunk thing.
Yeah.
And do you know anything about steampunk crap?
Not really.
It is like, how do I put this gently? I love it, first of all. It is like one of the most specific types of fandom I think I had ever been a part of. And we don't need to get into that or anything like that. But our facilitator was so excited about that one. I feel like she might actually be a steampunk kid.
Oh.
Which, if that's the case, I will be making a character before we go named Goldemir Paddlethwaite.
Oh, wow.
Which is one of...
Oh, sorry.
My cat just crawled into my pocket.
She's funny.
I love her.
She's really funny.
But, which is just immediately like... So we were thanking her and we were like, oh, you're so great. Yeah, that was a lovely time. Can't wait to sign up. And while this was happening, I was in the corner just thinking... Okay, what's my name gonna be? What's my backstory gonna be? Okay, I'm Goldmere Paddlethwaite. No, maybe Hog Bottom Ram Ass. Chungus L Steam Pork. Like, this is what I do.
See, and I was thinking this is great because what I was thinking when we were walking out is I immediately noticed the records on the wall. The time records of how fast people did it.
Someone was a brilliant Nancy. Dude,
immediately my brain turned on to like, well, we're going to have to beat that. But now it's like unfair because as you were saying when we were driving home, you can only do it once, like that specific room.
Then because
you know
the answers and shit, and they're not going to rotate it. And I don't really want to be that guy to drop a couple $100 just to be like, yeah, I got 17 minutes. Fuck you.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, ugh. I'd rather be the guy who goes in. Maybe we squeak by every single time because we finished with like 8 minutes left, something like that. She
seemed pretty pumped that we only used one of our hints too.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Any last thoughts on the escape room?
1,000, but it was fun. Do it. Or mostly it's my segue from that is like, we need to do, like, we've been meaning to do weirder shit.
That can be taken so many ways.
Like, we've been meaning to get out of the house more and do things. Like, we are creatures of habit, you less so than I am, but I have my things that work until they don't. And a lot of my stuff's not working anymore, like, in the same way. And, like, frankly, I don't have... So, this doesn't need to be the primary talk, but you have been able to explore your, like, spiritual side a fuck ton more than me. Because I learned what my spiritual side was, or my connection to it, when I was, like, 19, right? For me, it's performance and dance. Like, that's what it is. Like, either I'm entertaining people, or at the very, very least, I'm in class, you know? Or doing murder mystery theater, or like something like at the very least mellow. At the high end, I'm in front of like 15,000 people, and either way, I'm getting something out of it, and it's wonderful. So I haven't had that for a long time. Thank you, COVID. And I know that a lot of people experience that, getting their thing taken away from them, you know. And I'm grateful to be alive. Let me be clear. The alternative for a lot of people was, unfortunately, like, you know, I have friends who lost people in their family from it. So I'm not whining. Like, I understand my position, but like, it is a lot to have the thing you identify as taken from you, and have it not only be like this activity that you define yourself by, but you're basically your spiritual outlet, which is a hard thing to, I know you understand that, but it's a hard thing for a lot of people to get. Like we mentioned last time that, you know, we own a gym, and I will bring that up to some people, and not everybody fucking gets it. Not everybody's like, but why don't you just, can't you just dance at home? It's like, I do. You're missing it. It's the energy of people around you. It's your teacher. It's learning something. It's, you know, someone else's interpretation of music. Like, that's a big fucking deal. Not to mention hitting flow state, which I don't know how to talk about this, because you and I haven't really talked about this, but I deal with dissociation a lot. I have obsessive compulsive disorder. Rock fucking on. It's great. I recommend it for everybody. And the way for me it manifests is as it creates rule sets. Right. So did we talk about this? Mm-hmm. Okay.
Of course.
No, last time did we talk about this?
Oh, no.
So the way that so I make rule sets. So it's not like, if you don't know, how do I put this? Making things orderly is like the cliche for OCD, and that's just a human thing to do. Like making things in right angles, or like spacing things out by height or size or whatever the case may be. That's just normal human shit. But like, if you don't do that in the right order, the goblins coming to attack you, like that's sort of like the idea behind OCD in a very crude way. It's just these like, no, it has to be this way, or I'm wrong, or the universe is wrong. And it's just this way that your brain is telling you to make sense of everything that's at times extremely detrimental.
Yeah, it's like extreme superstition if you don't do something a very specific way, or you don't touch something a certain number of times, or you don't.
It's different. Anything. It's super different for everybody. Mine just happens to be rule sets. So it's things like, God, what's a good example actually? For my breathwork stuff, I have fought this for years. So I grew up doing martial arts, all this stuff. And if I didn't center my feet to the front, I couldn't actually begin my breathwork. I wouldn't allow myself to begin it. And that's like on the very low tier. Mm-hmm. And then there's some things that are just like fucking anxiety. I have a great shrink, and thankfully a lot of this doesn't really affect me the same way anymore. But for a while it would be like, I didn't understand why these things were happening. You know, simple things that I just wasn't on the ball of what was causing my anxiety attacks, but it would cause anxiety attacks. Mm-hmm. So anyway, the point is like, as to harken it way back, is the reason that like it's been really difficult to deal with the change after COVID in terms of just activity and basically my mental health because of it. And I've been meaning to get out and do new things. And like this thing ticked most of those boxes for me. Mm-hmm. Like it had my community, you know, we were kind of a little performative with it. We're solving a problem. It was very tangible, you know, like if there was like an audience watching us and we could like,
which technically the woman was kind of watching us from the other
that's
room.
why I would say almost. But if there was like people in the crowd, you know what I mean? And oh my God, and like maybe, but it was, so it just is a good, it's such a motivator to regain that discipline and try to find other avenues that may work until I can get my outlet back, you know?
Yeah.
It felt great because of that.
Yeah. I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah. I can keep talking.
I was like, I feel like we should just end on that because that's so, I'm really glad.
No, I mean, like, we've been talking about, like, what's something you're excited to try? If you could try anything right now, or like when we've slept.
No, that's like a really hard question for me to answer. I feel like 15 million things just came to my head.
Pick one.
I mean, like, there are many places I want to like travel to, or like foods that I want to try, or like make or cook or bake, or like I want to hike a bunch of different places. I want to like do different types of like the thing that's like coming into my mind right now, which is not surprising if you know me at all, because I've talked about this so much over the past few years. Like, I really want to go do a silent retreat, like in the forest.
100%.
I want to go for like,
holy crap.
Actually, there is a place here in Oregon. I can't remember exactly where it is, but there is a darkness retreat where you go into a cave.
The fuck does that?
You go into a cave.
You of all people.
For a minimum of 3 days in complete darkness and silence with just you and your thoughts.
You would hate that.
No, I kind of want to do it.
I support you, but you would hate. You get spooked when you think someone's like screaming outside in our neighborhood.
Well, it's silent. It's in the forest.
You think sounds don't happen in the forest?
No, they do, but you're like locked in there and like...
I submit that you should... I'm with you. If you want to do that, I will 100% support you. I'll support you in everything. But I think you should try a sensory deprivation tank first.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
that's funny. This is like making me think about...
Stick me in a hole in the forest. Maybe that's step 2.
That's like when you're like, what things do you want to try? Mine are all super like, how can I... Because this is kind of the journey I've been on in the past year. And if you want to learn more about that, you can listen to my own podcast. But everything that I want to try lately is introspective. It's like a lot of that type of work.
Well, I think most things are introspective, short of this. Even this is actually, this is kind of introspective as well.
The podcast or the escape room? Oh,
I think everything is introspective depending on.
Well, it's all how you like what you take from it and what you.
Well, and there it is. Like, everything, in my opinion, should make you look at yourself.
Which is exactly what this podcast is about. Spoiler alert: it's actually a little bit deep.
Sure, why not?
It is.
Okay. I wasn't told. That's fine.
That's what it is, though. Like, if we have talked about it, like,
I guess
we sit around and we talk about these things all day long that seem like
that's true. Silly
little things, but we talk about all these silly little things so much because they mean something to us. There's like a core belief. It's like, you know, and like reaffirming, or it's like making us think about something differently because it's not really aligning up with what we believe, or it's making us like, oh, I've heard, like we talk about all the time, like depending on where I've heard it, like you're like, I've told you that 5 times, and then one other person tells you that, and you finally like it lands, whatever. Like it's all that, like even these silly little topics like an escape room.
I don't think it's silly.
As you just demonstrated, like you can have an introspective moment if you think about what it means to you.
Yeah, that's true. You know, you're right. I agree with you in that. And I don't think the escape room is silly because, well, basically I'm in this mindset these days of like everything's cool. Just do something. Doesn't matter what it is. I say this thing at the gym all the time, and I've actually said a version of this to my students since I was like 19, but it's like it's important that you give a shit. Like it's just important that you care. It doesn't matter about what, but caring about literally anything is such a triumph. Yeah. Because it's so easy to not. It's so, and that's such a problem these days. It's either like, and what by care, for the record, I mean not like anger. I mean you take care in learning or practicing something. Yeah. You know, you spend energy trying to better yourself or learn about something. I guess that is bettering yourself. Or just experiencing something for the sake of experiencing it versus like tearing something down. It takes It's so much more like, yeah, it's like the difference between destruction and creation. Yeah. Like, so every little thing can be cool. Everything, like, what's my philosophy? Like, it's everyone's awesome unless you're an asshole. Like, that'll be a shirt. Yeah. You'll wear it to dinner.
Our future merch.
But that's all. Like, it's, so like you say you have like 15,000 things, like, start working down the list, you know? And yeah. I won't join you for the whole thing.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine. Yeah. It sounds horrible to me.
It's so funny because a lot of those things that I have been like, oh, I should put that on like a bucket list. The first time I hear about it, my automatic reaction is like, fuck no, I don't want to do that. Are you kidding me? Like what? And then I take a pause, like the darkness retreat. Like the first time I heard someone talking about it, I was like, absolutely not. I do not want to go sit by myself with my thoughts in the forest for a minimum 3. I think you can do it for like a long time. You can do it for like 30 days, but that's very expensive.
It's the blindness part of it that terrifies me. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds miserable. Yeah. I've evolved as an organism to see.
See, like the darkness actually isn't what makes me nervous about it. Okay. It's because I've watched people, I've watched their reviews of it. It's not reviews. They're not being like 5 stars, definitely stay here. It's their experience that they're talking about. It's still a review. And so many of them they're like, yeah, I went in being afraid of the dark, of the darkness being like all consuming, but it's actually, you have no sense of time. You have no sense of time because it's just dark.
I barely have that now.
And so you're like, what's interesting is a lot of the women talk about, because this is it's prevalent for everyone in our society, but especially women, is eating is such a fucking thing of like, I need to eat this much at this time, da 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 da, and like you don't have markers for like when you're supposed to eat because you don't have like a lunch break, or you don't don't even have light to tell you whether it's morning or night or whatever.
I eat when I'm hungry.
Right, but what? I'm saying, well, that's so much of my work as a nutritionist is like most women don't know their hunger cues.
Oh my God.
Because we've been trained to eat tiny little meals, like, and just ignore if you're hungry, suppress it, right? Oh my God. So anyways, it's just like, that was the thing that I was really getting from it, is like, you have no sense of time, and your brain for the first 12 hours is going to try to fill, I should be doing something, right? And so it's kind of like freaking out. But then all of them say like, you just settle into like, oh, I'm just here with myself and I'm going to like take a bath. There's like a bath in there. And like,
okay, well, that's not alone in a fucking cave for 3 days. That's
it's a cave cabin thing.
It's a dimly lit spa.
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, I'm in.
Yeah.
That's what's fucking great.
Like, and they bring you food once a day.
Yeah, fuck you. This is not alone in a cave.
There's still no light. There's this contraption. I've looked it up. We're gonna have to do a whole episode on this if I ever go do it. But
might be my nightmare.
They have like one of those things where it's like a box and they have doors on either side, so they'll come in and put the food in and close it.
A house? A prison?
No, they're like a small box in between doors. Oh, well, I guess, I don't know.
It's a prison.
I've never been to a prison, so I don't know.
That's a legitimate prison.
So that the light...
If this isn't like... I'm sure it's lovely, and I'm about to shit on Gwyneth Paltrow. This sounds like some insane goop shit. It really does. Like, we've discovered a brilliant new thing. We lock you in a lightless vault 30 feet down. We bury you in concrete, and Yolanda, I don't know why, comes, slides the food slat open every day and gives you 5 pancakes. Like, it sounds like such, like, this is the shit we were trying not to do, evolutionarily speaking. But you know what? Fuck that. Let's do it anyway.
I mean, that's basically what I'm saying.
Oh my God. I'm 50-50 on it. I you know what? I'm 51% in favor of it. Because if that's what someone needs to feel at one with themselves or enlightenment, who the fuck really am I to judge? Right. Oh, I judge.
Well, it's that thing of like, my very firm stance in what I believe in is if you are not affecting anyone else, you are not harming other people, I don't care what you do. I don't that's where we differ. I don't care what you do. I don't care what you do. Your whole point on this earth while you're here is to do what you want and to leave it a better place than when you got here. And if that means you want to go skinny dipping every day in Costa Rica, great.
That sounds great. I'm like 99% for that.
If that means you only wear
skinny dipping in
a burlap sack
derrick
as a dress every day, great. I'm happy for you in doing that.
I'm not that itchy. That's too itchy.
You don't have to do it. That's what I'm saying. Like, if it doesn't affect me and you're not harming other people, you do you, boo-boo. That's my philosophy.
I don't give a fuck. Do what the hell you want. It doesn't matter. Just don't come to my house. It's just, yeah, I don't care. I don't care. It's not my life. But I will have an opinion about it because I'm a human. Like, and that seems hilarious to me that we have hit a point in the self-help or wellness industry where basically something we've avoided on purpose as we've evolved as a species. I could just say evolved and not add as a species. That was a really stupid comment. But it's funny to me that this thing we used to run from, we now run to.
Well, it's the same. It's the same as camping. It's the same as the Firewatch thing that you want to do.
You are absolutely right.
It's because we want to be in nature. The Firewatch thing is different.
The Firewatch thing is forced seclusion, which is a normal fucking thing. But yeah, you're right. The camping thing is absolutely like it is a return to primitive and like
to me it makes so much sense. It's about either getting back into nature. That's why we're doing so much of this stuff, because we live in cities now. And it's the same with fucking noise pollution and social media pollution and job fucking emails. We literally have lost touch with our own minds, and that's why people do these.
That makes sense.
So like,
now you sold me.
We are going back to these things that seem so primitive, but it's because we're info saturated, noise saturated. Our attention spans are shrinking.
Well,
so people are trying to go.
It's not
back.
the go to primitive that I have a problem with. It's where it seems like you're almost punishing yourself. You know what I mean? And I've never done it. So I don't know. And my opinion means nothing. But when I hear I'm going into a cave for 3 days with no light, and someone will put food in a box, and I won't interact with this person, that seems like, what did you do wrong this weekend? Versus,
it just seems
I'm going to go
cool
to a spa, or I'm going to go to the woods and like try to reconnect with nature a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like a step. It's maybe not too far for me. I'd probably try it because I'll try anything. But yeah, that's that level of I need to connect with myself is interesting to me, because I think it parallels with, and this is a whole other topic that we could get into, I think it parallels thrill seekers. I think it's not, maybe not the same, but it might be the same.
Kind of. I mean, like, I think of it...
It's an extreme display of I guess, self-therapy or...
Well, it's trying to heal parts of yourself that you have a hard time accepting. Like, you're only there with your thoughts.
Oh, I get it. I understand it. Yeah. And that's why I'm not totally shitting on it. I think it's probably very valuable, but it does seem like why not go just try camping first? Just try a sensory depot tank for an hour. Why is it 3 days?
Well, maybe they have done that.
You're right.
Maybe that's how people build up. I don't know. It's just me who always, like, when I do things, I go 110%. So I'm like, let's jump to the cave. That's my personality.
I understand. I do.
Yeah.
I'm trying to reconcile it, but there goes my OCD again. Of like, but did they do step 1 though? It's like, dude, you don't know, and that's not the point. Yeah. Oh, but though, yeah. But no, yeah. But though, okay.
Yeah. Well, why don't you tell me what your gratitude is for the week?
Are we done? I guess we should be.
I feel like we've talked a lot about.
We've about a little under an hour. You're right. We don't need to saturate these.
Your third date gratitude.
My third date gratitude is, I gotta go with the fucking. I don't know. I had one. It was right in my face.
Do you want me to go first?
No, I want to talk this out. I talk too much. It's a problem.
That's why we have a podcast. Yeah.
This week was harder than last week. And last week I said I was grateful that, I had a hard week so I could find out what I don't want in my life. But then this week the anxiety was super high, and I sure as hell am not thankful for that. So I'm struggling a little bit. Thankful for you. Super duper thankful for you. Thankful I got to see my parents once. That was nice. I don't have anything profound, but I am thankful that I got to experience something I've always wanted to experience before. I've always wanted to do an escape room. And you know what? Yeah, that's a good segue. I'm really thankful that I experienced something that almost ticked all my boxes for my mind, body, spirit connection, because I haven't felt that in a lot of times, and it felt I felt less dissociated, I think is how it's than I normally do. I felt much more present, and I really need that.
I love that.
Yeah. What about what
What
you in the butt?
I feel like this could be a whole other separate podcast, so I'm going to try to not get in the weeds here. I had a very profound experience. Was that yesterday? 2 days ago? 2 nights ago, with some very incredible mediums here in Portland. That was my first experience with mediums. And more than anything, it just made me very grateful for any and all healers and people that are in service of helping other people on this planet. And I'm talking any profession. You help so many people.
Anything. You
that's not what I meant.
It's fucking asshole.
We sometimes downplay. You're oh, I just run gym classes, or I will just be I just teach dance classes sometimes, but they're helping people with their energy. Like you were saying, it's different. It's not I'm just running a gym. We're helping people energetically. It's a different thing, and it just it really had me reflecting on why I left corporate in the first place, and why I'm so drawn to other people that do healing work in whatever modality that is, including but not limited to baristas who really care about their job and love their regulars that come in every morning and know about their lives and whatever. I think that we should all be doing work that we really care about and in some way helps benefit other people on this planet outside of ourselves. So just very grateful for that experience and other healing people on this planet.
I have to confess a thing, and I think I told this to Katie already, but I just want this to be on public record at this point, is that you got to experience that, and I am very envious of that. I'm very happy. My first reaction is happiness. I can't even tell you. And the other one is I want that too. So badly. You people listening, she was glowing when she came home. She's like, I can't even explain what the fuck happened. It was just, I'll try, but like,
which is really interesting, and I don't want to share about it now because I want to process it on my own and embody it. But it wasn't
and
like
you'll probably talk about it on your
I will absolutely get into it on my podcast when the time is right. But it wasn't butterflies and kisses and rainbows. Like it was.
I don't think any of those things are, to be honest.
It was one of the most intense things that has ever happened to me, and yet I still came home and I was like, holy shit, that was one of the best things that's ever happened to me. So I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good. I mean, my thing was just about you. Like, it was one of those, I guess, like, it inspires me to see that you went and did something so intense and something that, like, I'm still very curious about. I'm trying to change my verbiage from skeptical to curious, because I just want to, skeptical is technically the right word. I don't know if that is real. Theories, but it doesn't matter, because anything that brings guidance for somebody is great. And I want to follow up on that. I'm super curious to see how I would react to that shit.
Yeah.
Super curious. If I would be like, oh yeah, that's my grandfather or whatever. Or if I'd be like, how are you fucking doing this right now?
Yeah. And maybe in the future we'll have a whole podcast about that. Because
I think we should do that. I think we should have a fucking episode where someone comes and like does a fucking reading on here or whatever, if they're comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
And
because this podcast episode is going to be so long.
No,
so many tangents.
Let's wrap it up.
Okay.
We can always talk about more later.
We definitely need to have a podcast episode about that, because the things that you've told me that you are like the most skeptical about, and people that do cold reading and all these things, like this couldn't have been further from that. Like it was. I
don't think they were cold reading. That is a separate thing.
Yeah.
I can pick a huckster out of a crowd. I don't understand it yet, what you went through, and I don't want to shit on it. Because my general thing is to be like, okay, well, that person Googled you, right? Which is not who I want to be. So we can talk about it later. Let's wrap the fucking episode up.
Yeah.
Where can they find you?
You can find me on the Instagrams at Katie, Kati, period, Vanloo, Vanloo. You can find out about all the things that I do.
And there. That was a spoiler earlier. She has a podcast that she's working on. We will be putting the links. Actually, I think it might go up on this episode underneath. Whenever I mean, you have eyes.
You'll see.
It'll be included in the descriptions for episodes.
I think it will be live by the time this episode goes live.
It should be. But if it's not, it'll be on the next one. The point is you can always, if you're clamoring at the bit for more from Katie, follow her. She's good at goddamn everything. She's a brilliant nutritionist and coach and etc. You can find me at andrew.slack. That's SLAC. On Instagram, I'm not that active on there. Do not slide into my DMs. I don't even know what that means, really. I thought it was dungarees the first time somebody said it to me. My denims is what I thought they were saying.
No.
It's not. But I have a book available on Amazon right now called The Death and Life of Tom Valentine. You can the link will be probably included in everything that we do. And also I have a hobby YouTube channel where I play games and talk a whole lot of shit and sometimes philosophy. That is Chickenfoot TV, CHKNFOOT TV, on the YouTube.
Yeah.
And we still don't have an official sign off yet. No. I so badly want like an Elvis want a cookie.
I know.
It's so good. Maybe one day.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah. We hope you have a beautiful week, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah. See ya.